Hey guys, so this is the Rose Technics QTX Deluxe Edition Hybrid in-ear monitors. Now these are flagship level in-ear monitors. They sound amazing, but it's not perfect. So I'm going to break down what makes these brilliant in certain aspects and what are certain things that they can definitely improve. So let's talk about that. Okay, let's get the unboxing out of the way. So as you can see, it comes in a medium-sized box. Sliding off the outer cover and opening the box, we get some paperwork. You get 4 pairs of narrow bore ear tips and 4 additional pairs of wide bore ear tips. You get the included RS9039 portable DAC amp, a USB-C to USB-C cable to connect the DAC amp with your device. You get the very high quality Blue Rose Pro cable that has 2 pin connectors on one end, and the version I have comes with a 4.4mm balanced audio jack. You get a very high quality branded leather carrying case, and of course you get the QTX hybrid in-ear monitors themselves. Now as for the specs of the QTX, so as I mentioned, these are hybrid in-ear monitors, which means it packs 2 types of drivers inside each of the in-ear monitors. So each of these have 7 drivers packed inside, and it's a combination of one 10mm dynamic driver and 6 balanced armatures. And it's got an impedance of 18 ohms, so these are low impedance in-ear monitors. And although I keep always suggesting that you do invest in a portable DAC and amp to power these, thankfully this time, because these are flagship in-ear monitors, they actually include a very good portable DAC amp right in the box, and I'll talk more about that in detail later. So that does the job of powering these and making them sound as good as they possibly can. Now as for the appearance and build quality, so the version I have is called the Obsidian Black. And this has a very slick and stealthy look, nothing too fancy or showy. It uses very high quality resin and it's quite ergonomic, gives a very snug fit and is moderately comfortable even for long listening sessions. Now if you get the deluxe version, you get the Blue Rose Pro braided cable, which is just phenomenal in terms of quality. It just feels really nice, very robust, and it's something that gives you that assurance it's going to last for years to come, even with daily wear and tear. So I'm a really big fan of this braided cable, and I wish that more brands start incorporating these braided cables in their in-ear monitors. Now the included RS9039 portable DAC amp that they have inside the box is no slouch, because this has 2 output options, a 4.4mm balanced and a 3.5mm stereo. Now the 4.4mm balanced has a rated power output of 400mW at 32 ohms, while the 3.5mm has a rated output of 240mW at 32 ohms. It supports DSD up to 256 and PCM up to 32 bits. Now this is easily able to drive the QTX, and you can use this with your other in-ear monitors as well, and you don't need to invest in a separate DAC in the future. Alright, now let's talk about the main criteria, which is the audio quality. So if you're an existing viewer, you know that I judge these in-ear monitors based on how they produce the 3 frequencies that broadly make up any sound that you hear: the highs, the mids and the lows. The highs or the treble response, where the really sharp sounding instruments are, the mids where the vocals are, and the low end or the bass response. Now starting off with the highs or the treble response packs a humongous amount of detail and sparkle. Detail retention is excellent and subtle nuances in this frequency is rendered with ease. Instrument separation is well maintained, and each of these instruments in the higher frequencies were distinctly audible and there was no overlap. However, the ultra-high frequencies might be a bit too sharp or harsh for really treble sensitive individuals. So I found that 70% volume is kind of like the sweet spot, where it's not too harsh, but you still get enough detail and clarity. See, overall, the treble response is brilliant. With the amount of detail and the technicalities they bring to the table, it is just impressive. However, the ultra high frequencies is where I have my issues, because that is where I feel that they've gone overboard and it tends to sound a bit sibilant, especially at really high volume. So like I mentioned, 70% volume is the sweet spot where a general listener as well as an analytical listener will enjoy listening to music for long listening sessions. Next up, we have the mid frequencies where the vocals are. Like the treble response, the mid frequencies are also packed with immense amount of detail. They are really bright, with the upper mids being given the most preference. However, I feel that they are a bit too bright for their own good, because what ends up happening is that the male vocals, especially at high volumes, tend to sound shouty, and there is this layer of warmth that is missing, and that gives you the illusion that it lacks depth. And this affects female vocals as well, because they tend to sound more thin than they should be. So overall, the male vocals end up lacking that natural tonality. It doesn't sound as organic, and for long listening sessions, it's not always the most pleasant. Now, instrument separation in the mid-frequency range was good, and there was no overlap with the vocals, so well spaced out and distinctly audible. Now, what really impressed me was listening to stringed instruments like guitars on the QTX, because they are rendered with such flair and detail that they were just a pleasure to listen to. Overall, the mids or the vocals are hefty, really bright and upfront, but what they could use is a bit more balanced and nuanced rendition to make them sound more natural or neutral. And finally, we come to the low end or the bass response. Now, the bass on these are massive. They pack an incredible amount of the mid-bass slam that is thick and really punchy, and when needed, it also gave me a bit of the sub-low rumble that always is very enjoyable and makes the track really immersive. The bass is textured, fast, very responsive, and is undistorted even at max volumes. Personally, and I know many would disagree, but because sound is subjective, I would say that I have had one of the best experiences in terms of the bass response from an IEM on the QTX, and yes, I can even suggest these for a bass head. Now, as for the soundstage on the QTX, I would say they are moderately wide and do a very impressive job in terms of the stereo imagery, and even for gamers, I think this would be a good fit. In summary, the hybrid setup on the QTX is doing its job. So the 6 balanced armatures dedicated for different frequencies are definitely doing their job, and so is the dynamic driver. Its sound is not for a general listener. It's definitely for a seasoned audiophile, for an analytical listener, and for them, it's going to be brilliant because the sound is really good. But a pair of in-ear monitors that are over $400 or over 22,000 rupees for my Indian viewers, it's not for the faint of heart, and it's not for everyone. It's for the most discerning listeners and obviously people who have that amount of money lying around. So for them, it's definitely a good investment. Again, you have to consider what you get inside the box. I've been thoroughly impressed with their cable quality, one of the best that I've had, and the fact that they include a portable DAC amp in the box. So that is saying something when you're paying this price. So considering everything, I would say for a seasoned listener, it's definitely something you can check out. But for general listeners who don't want to spend so much or shouldn't have to spend so much, there are better options out there from Rose Technics itself and obviously from other brands. So if you want to check those out, make sure to check out my reviews and then make an informed decision. But just talking about the QTX, yes, I'm thoroughly impressed. It's not perfect, but it is still a very good in-ear monitor. So there you have it, guys. That was my review of the Rose Technics QTX Deluxe Edition. I'll leave a link of this in the description below, as well as a link for one of the best collections of in-ear monitors. You can check it out from there. And as always, I would really appreciate if you use those links to make your purchase. You don't have to buy this, but whatever in-ear monitor that you buy using that link, it'll help me run this channel and I can produce more such high quality and helpful content just for you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share this video, and as always, I'll catch you guys very soon in the next one. Cheers.